Yeah, obviously, uh, gut-wrenching loss there. Now obviously, MAC football, it's never over until the clock hits zero, and it was just a battle back and forth there. At the end, you got to give them credit. They executed a 2-minute drive there. We left just under a minute, and they had 3 timeouts there, and you got to give them credit for going down the field and executing there. Just got to on our end, we got to stay together. That's the third game that we played. I know, obviously, quickly there'll be some questions, I'm sure, about from a defensive standpoint, but we just got to keep working. We got a lot of new faces on that side of the ball, a new coordinator, and obviously it's a lot of big plays that were given up in the run game. Obviously, even to start that last drive there, obviously coming out just under a minute, 3 timeouts, and they started off with a big run there. So just told our guys, there's no finger pointing here. We win together, we lose together, and we got to get back to Muncie. We got to work on us. I mean, that's it. You got to work on us. We got to make sure we know exactly what we're doing. We got to keep investing time together, and there's absolutely no finger pointing. No, we Mac wild battle, if you will, and went all the way down to clock hit zero.
Go ahead, Cade.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you about specifically the big plays that they were able to generate on offense. They had 9 plays go for over 20 yards, and they had 2 runs that went for over 70 yards. So what do you think kind of was going on?
Obviously, until I get a chance to watch the film, but I think it was a combination of multiple things. Obviously, we had some hits on guys, and we weren't able. They're bouncing off initial contact and doing some damage after on yards after contact. And at the same time, we had some guys that were not sound in their assignment, whether they're out of position or out of gap. And obviously, when you do that, you're going to give up some big plays. So want to see the tape, but obviously starts with us making sure our guys are in position and they're doing their job. And when we get people to the football, we got to be a good tackling team. And early several of those, obviously there was some contact, and then obviously they did a good job of gaining yards after contact on us.
Last week, Keontae told us that there were a lot of communication issues with the defense. Do you think that was an issue today?
Yes, I do. I think there were some communication challenges that we have, but it wasn't all that. Obviously, there was, again, we gave up some big plays, some explosive plays, and some of that when you have a chance to make a tackle in the open field, or you got initial contact and we don't finish the deal and get them to the ground, that results in big plays. And those are things that we got to get cleaned up on our end, and that just simply can't happen.
Kadin looked really sharp offensively today. He had a really great day throwing the ball, made some really nice throws. What did you like that you saw from him?
Ultimate competitor, obviously, to lead the team 95 yards down the field there, and just take what the defense give him and trusted his guys were going to make plays after the catch. I mean, his demeanor and how hard he works, I think he's seen his hard work pay off. I think the 2-minute drive there at the end of the first half and the 2-minute drive at the end of the game, you learn a lot about a quarterback, especially in those situations when that's the most pressure that you can face. And I think he did a good job of executing there.
Coach, if the last 50 seconds of that game go differently, then the talk of the post-game presser would be that last drive from Semonza and, the hurdle from Tanner Koziel. Does the mindset shift at all if that were to happen, or is it still all about kind of cleaning up those big play mistakes?
Well, yeah, obviously it's, there's too much time left on the clock. They still had 3 timeouts and they went down and executed. And, on our end of it defensively, we gave up, too many big plays in that last drive there in 2 minutes. And that just simply can't happen. Obviously, we got to continue to work hard on cleaning up ourselves and some of the mistakes that we're making, but that doesn't take away the effort by Kadin, because he was faced with a pressure situation. Obviously, I'm sure Keon Magwood had it to do over again. He fair catches that punt, whether he didn't think he could get to it. Haven't really had a chance to communicate with him about it, but it was a tough task, if you will, for a quarterback that's a redshirt freshman to throw him in there and say, hey, take the team 95 yards and go execute. And that's what he did. So I know very proud of him for that. And, the guys did a great job up front of giving him time. So, he put the ball in some tight windows there where only our guy had a chance to make a play on it, and credit our guys for making a play on the ball. And, just doing a great job running after catch, selling out, trying to jump over people. And, the run after the catch by Keon until I think he just ultimately ran out of gas. And then he went down right there. And just, again, calm and cool by Kadin there under pressure, and never flinched.
And about one of those big playmakers, what have you seen from Koziel so far at the start of this season? He's been very impactful in all three of these games.
Yeah, and I credit Tanner, because obviously we all know that back in the spring or back late fall, he made a decision to go in the portal, and he was headed to Louisville. And takes a lot of guts to call somebody 3 days before you're going to go and tell them that, man, you want to go back and you want to go back to Ball State. You want to play with your teammates. And I think a big reason is that is because his rapport and his connection that he has with Kadin. Those guys work tirelessly together on the practice field. They work tirelessly together off the practice field. They watch film together. I think it's just a belief. And I think you're seeing two guys that invested a lot of time together in the off season. Their hard work's paying off. And, that has to be the case if you want to be have a chance to be a great player. It's those type of things that are necessary off the field in order to be able to have a chance to get that done.
Mike, you've been through games like this before, I'm sure. I mean, it's just kind of what the MAC is. How do you go about managing the negatives that need to be cleaned up in practice the next week, and also keeping in mind the positives, like how Kadin played?
I think the most important thing, just when I address the group right there at the end of the game, let's not finger point, man. Nobody's coming out here and trying to get themselves out of positions. Nobody's coming out here trying to not make a tackle in the open field. The reality of it is we got to own it. We got to look ourselves in the mirror. Each guy in that locker room does. And, I challenged them in there. I said, just make sure, man, are you preparing with everything you got throughout the week of preparation? I understand there's academic responsibilities, but when you're not with the coaches, are you investing as much time as you possibly can to make sure you know exactly what you're doing? Because it's all about each one of us doing our job, and, got it one play at a time. I don't have to go to class. They got to go to class. They got to be able to manage that. But that's part of being a Division I athlete, man. You don't have free time. Your free time is invested in making sure that I know exactly what I'm doing game plan wise. And I don't want it. There's no finger pointing. We knew in the off season, we lost a lot of guys to graduation. We lost a lot of guys, a couple of guys to the transfer portal. We brought in a lot of new faces on the defensive side of the ball. It's our third game together. Yes, we got to get it cleaned up. It starts with us. Before we, again, I credit Central Michigan, but it starts with us making sure we clean us up. And that starts on the practice field. That starts in the meeting room watching the film.
I don't want to make any unfair speculation, so I just want to ask straight up. As far as the preparation goes, when you're making that kind of speech to the guys, does that come from a point of concern, or is it more rhetorical?
No, I think it's just making sure each guy, from an accountability standpoint, are you doing your part? You can't get caught if and again, we had some guys injured today. DD came out, he, unfortunately pregame warm-up just wasn't where he needed to be in order to be able to go. Then AJ Taylor, who came back. So we got some guys in there young playing safety, and you got to be ready. And it's easy when you're through the week of practice, no matter what position you play. If you're a backup or you're a three, naturally you're thinking, man, how much am I gonna get a lot of action this week? And it happens. And you might only get your opportunity called one time, and it's a bad feeling if you're not ready to go. And I'm not saying that anybody, I'm just making sure our guys know that, man, it happens week after week after week after week, or an injury takes place, and you got to be ready to go. It just is what it is. There are no excuses. And, when somebody goes down, you got to be ready to go, and you got to always prepare yourself like you're a starter.
Sure. And then I guess too, going back to how you've been in situations like this, where do you approach it going forward? Is it a sense of urgency? Because it is a short season, although it is early in the short season. Is there a sense of urgency?
Face it head on, man. I mean, obviously that was MAC game number one. This is a great conference from top to bottom. Obviously we step back out of conference next week to go on the road at James Madison, but we got to attack playing better football as a team, all three phases. We did so many good things on special teams day, getting a blocked punt there. Sam Feeney's all over the damn place. It's awesome to see his hard work pay off. He's ready when his number's called. And so, it's so many good things that are positive, but yet, it only takes a handful of plays or to obviously get yourself in a situation where we're having this conversation at the end of the game.
With two back-to-back losses, how hard is it to keep up that positive attitude in the locker room?
That's what you do. It's football, man. And listen, we got one game at the end of the week. You spend 6 days preparing for one game, and you want to go out and you want to play as good as you possibly can. I'm not worried for 1 second about our team. I fully believe that guys will focus on the positive things that we did today. I feel like they'll rally around each other for sure, making sure they know I still believe in you 100%. I still have your back 100%. And there's no finger point. You win. Sometimes the game is 10-7, and sometimes it's a game like this. And so they take different shapes. The way they go, it's not always going to be a shootout every week, and it's not always going to be a defensive battle. So that's his conference, and I fully believe that our guys will rally around each other and come back and go to work, and we'll focus on the positive things and clean up the things that need work.
Yeah, hey Elijah. Last week, Keontae told us that miscommunication seemed to be a problem in the defense. Do you think that was an issue today as well?
Not really. We grew a lot from last week as far as communication go. I feel like the communication today was very clear, especially coming from Keontae and the safeties, spreading the communication throughout the whole defense. So I feel like we were a lot better than last week, just growing every week.
What do you think kind of went wrong for the defense, especially in that second half there?
I feel like we came out really on fire and getting in the backfield. I feel like just it's simple thing. It's football, just a lot of misfitting gaps, gaps wide open, and they expose that. Especially like I say from the safeties myself, got to fill gaps a lot sooner. So that was really a pass game. We did pretty decent.
Anything more from Cade?
Yeah, I was going to ask, overall, a solid day. You have first and third quarter, you don't allow any points, but 20 unanswered in the second. How kind of deflating are those big plays, and then how do you regroup?
We a strong team, very strong team. So I feel like those big plays happen. Everybody's on to the next play. Everybody accept it. We learn from it. We get to the sideline, get on the iPads, learn from it, and we on to the next play. We keep attacking. So it doesn't really bring us down any. We on to the next, ready to attack.
And what does this defense have to do next week to put together a complete game?
All 4 quarters. I mean, you just said it yourself. Second quarter, we had 20 unanswered points. So all 4 quarters, if we attack them how we do the first and the third, it's a big W.
Go ahead and turn it here in the room, Elijah, Kyle.
Mike told us that the big thing that he was telling you guys in the locker room after the game was just there's no finger pointing, and just guys have to be accountable for themselves and for your teammates. How have you embraced that in the past, and how do you kind of plan on embracing that going forward?
Just coming together as a team. We're a very well put together team, God-based team. We have a team Bible study that's player led, and we're just a family. Like I couldn't do it without those guys. I know those guys couldn't do it without me. We really come together. It is no finger point. We're all together. We grind it from the winter all the way into this point. So if I fall down, they're right there to pick me up. If they fall down, I'm picking them right back up. So regardless, we're going to attack, and we're a family.
People have preached that family culture all throughout this program, but even before you got to Ball State when you were a Pike, did you keep that in mind where your teammates are the ones that kind of kept you going through adversity?
Of course. Especially at Pike, I feel like you live around them. I mean, here at Ball State, we live on campus around these guys, and you kind of know what they go through. It's a great thing we do during fall camp. We do drivers, so every night, every guy goes up there and he tells his life story, and it just makes us feel real connected. So I know what they go through, and I know that I can relate to a lot of that, and I just got their back. I never want to see them down with their head down, and after games like this, they pick me right back up.
And then you had that forced fumble today. Obviously, I think when I talk to guys about stats, they're always more focused on the result of the game. How do you go about balancing the two, feeling good about performance like that, but also knowing you have to get better?
Man, I'm probably my biggest critic. The big thing that my friend in high school, Lamar Eagles, told me is never let the good get to your head and never let the bad get to your heart. So I can't take nothing too hard based off what I did bad out there, and I can't let nothing good go to my head and kind of blow me up to think I'm bigger than anything. I just got to remain humble, which a lot of that comes from my faith. Just understand that I am a servant, and to be a safety on this team, you got to be a leader. So, and the meaning of lead is to serve. So I'm here to serve these guys and lay it all on the line for them.
Sure. And then I don't know if this is something that's like strictly kept in house, but I gotta ask about the drivers. If you don't mind, like what was your driver?
Um, Big drivers for me, I say my faith, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I actually gave my testimony at the Bible study this week and just kind of telling them how I wouldn't be here without God. Like he's literally had his hands on my life, so many things. And other drivers, my family, my mom moved me and my brothers out to Indianapolis to take care of my sick grandma, and she passed. And my mom was taking care of her while taking care of 3 boys and finishing nursing school. Like if that don't drive you, I don't know what will. Like seeing a woman never back down from anything, taking care of 3 boys, and I have a middle brother who's paralyzed from the waist down when I was 13, and having to take care of him. Like a lot of that molded me into a man, very early on. So that's why I kind of have a chip on my shoulder. That's why I take losses so hard, because I feel like I can't afford to lose. Like we done been through it all. I just can't. And then the family I got, I have a wonderful stepdad, came in my life, kind of got me going with football. And his side of the family, my cousin on his side actually played for Coach Knowles at NIU in 2018. So, and he kind of molded me as the safety I am, because he played safety at NIU. So it's a lot of people counting on me, and a lot of those things keep me going on a daily, especially times like this. I need them.
Where'd you move from when you came to Indianapolis?
I was originally born in Hayes, Kansas. So
Okay.
small town.
I just thought I'd double check with that.
I guess what's it like playing with on a field that essentially your brothers? I mean, you're in Bible study with them, you're with them every week. What's it like playing with a group of guys that are essentially your family?
It's amazing. Like seeing those guys make plays. Like Weeks had a big tackle for loss, and he's the leader of the Bible study group. It was amazing. Like I'm just so happy to see those guys succeed, and even the guys that's not playing, like Cole Earlywan, he is in my ear after every down. Keep doing this. Great play, you're supposed to be here. Like that's my dog. Me and him go back to Indy because we had the same trainer. And it's just really a brotherhood, and like it provides so much trust because we're all rooted between the same thing. Like in the Bible, it talks about being unequally yoked. Like we're equally yoked when it comes to this team, and that's probably the best blessing I could have.
All right, yeah, Kadin, you played probably your best game today, but unfortunately came out with the loss. How do you kind of move forward after playing so well but still taking the L on the record?
Doesn't matter how well I played, how well anybody played. We lost for team, and we got to deal with that. There's no finger pointing here. We're going to be all right. We're going to keep our heads up, get it rolling next week. But it's a tough loss for sure.
Take me through that kind of last big offensive drive. You guys went 97 yards in just over a minute.
It was nothing new to the offense. I mean, that's stuff we rep and practice every week, almost every day. So it was familiar territory for us, and we just went out there, had fun, did our thing. At the end of the day, still wasn't enough though.
Talk to me a little bit about Tanner. You guys had a really good connection going today. He had over 100 yards in that touchdown there at the end.
Great player. I mean, that guy, he's going to be playing on Sundays, that's for sure. So it's good to have a guy like that helping me out, all that kind of stuff. So nothing much more than he's a great player.
He had, 5 of his 9 catches went for first downs today, and most of those I think were on third downs. What's it like to have somebody that's like that reliable, especially on third downs like that?
Like I said, I mean, that guy's going to be playing on Sundays. He's an incredible threat, incredible tool for us to be able to use. And I'm sure it's tough on defenses to mark that and all that kind of stuff. So.
We noticed, or I noticed today that the Kyle Kelly packages with him kind of coming into the game, it seemed like he got a bit more touches today and he was able to do a little bit more with them. Is that something you guys have focused on, or just something that seemed to be working a little bit better today against this defense?
I think it worked a little bit better today, but he's an explosive player who we're going to find out ways to get involved in the game. He's too good for us not to get him touches and get him involved. So.
All right. Thanks. That's all for me.
And Kadin, still as a redshirt freshman, what's the confidence level like when you're put in the game with 2 minutes left and, the game's in your hands and you have to manufacture 90 yards of offense to get down the field?
My confidence will remain at an all-time high at all times. I mean, that comes from preparation. That comes from years and years of preparation, practice, film room study. At the end of the day, my preparation each and every week, I'm going to rely on that. And I'm not going to be afraid of any moment at all.
And then there's been a lot of talk in this press conference thus far about, not pointing the finger at anybody and, staying together as a family after this game. You having, completed that drive with 50 seconds left, and then it automatically does, or at the end of the day, it doesn't end in winning the game. What is your message to your teammates?
Maybe we got to go about the situation a little bit different. On offensively speaking, we had many opportunities where we got a turnover or we got a block punt or things of that nature, and we didn't convert. So at the end of the day, there's nothing for us to even point our finger at. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we got to get back and improve upon.
I've obviously never been in a situation like this. You know, when you're walking back to the locker room, kind of what's going through your head?
To be honest, man, that was a tough loss. It was a huge game, first conference game for us. Big one that we wanted to bounce back from last week. At the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is now. We can't do anything about it. We're gonna get back to Muncie and get working and get ready for next week.
Something I noticed is just in your responses, especially today, you sound a lot like Mike Neu, and that just reminds me, like, it's surprising to see someone your age just displaying the leadership and the confidence that we see. How did you kind of go about creating that in these past 2 years?
I mean, I've been blessed, you know, to be where I'm at now. A lot of preparation, like I was saying earlier, just getting reps, you know, growing more and more each and every day in this quarterback role and this leadership role. And I'm a far from a finished product, so I'm looking forward to keep getting better. And whatever this team needs, I'm gonna try to do it for them.
And how do you go about, like, accountability has been a big thing in this press conference as well. How do you go about holding your teammates accountable and also just holding yourself accountable?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, we can't, you know, get anything accomplished if we're not accountable, taking care of what we got to take care of. 11 men, all three phases of the game. So plain and simple, if we're not accountable, we're not going to achieve anything.
We just talked to Elijah Davis, who talked about his drivers, how everybody has their drivers on this team. Do your drivers that you have keep you going in moments of adversity like this?
Of course. And it's at the end of the day too, it's you look to your right and you look to your left, and these are your brothers you're playing with, and you know, you want nothing more than to go succeed for them. So like I said, I mean, the result wasn't what we wanted, but we're going to be all right.
I guess just lastly, do you feel like you guys left too much time on the clock after that last possession?
Yeah, evidently we did. So we're going to get back, and however we can figure that out, we're going to figure that out.
It didn't feel like that in the moment though.
I mean, I guess a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and not throw a touchdown because there's too much time on the clock. If when it was there, play opened up, Tanner was there, I'm not going to, you know, not throw it to him. So at the end of the day, that's that. Maybe we can clock manage a little bit better, and that's on us. You know, we'll go back and watch the tape and we'll figure that out.